Now that you've finally accepted the fact, and yes, it is a fact, that if you're serious about heart rate training, you have to stop using the sensor on your watch and graduate to an actual heart rate strap instead, the question becomes,
what kind of heart rate strap should I get?
and that's what we're going to try to get to the bottom of today, or at least shine a little bit of light on the subject. Because the fact of the matter is, there are no shortage of companies out there that make heart rate straps for athletes, although there are a few that kind of rise to the top when it comes to most likely to be seen by runners, triathletes, cyclists, endurance athletes in general. Either Polar, Garmin, or Wahoo. But how do you decide which one is the best for you? Quite frankly, all of them are okay. They all have their pluses, they all have their minuses, and there are really two factors, as far as I can tell, that really kind of help tip the balance in favor of one model or another. Now, before we get into those two factors, one thing that you might be wondering is whether or not certain heart rate straps work better based on the brand of watch you have. So whether you have a Garmin, or a Polar, Coros, Suunto, Apple Watch, or pretty much any other running watch out there, please allow me to channel my inner rock for a moment and let you know that
it doesn't matter what watch you have!
Whew, glad I got that out of my system. These days, pretty much any modern running watch is going to be compatible with just about any heart rate strap out there. So how do you determine which type of strap to get, which company, which model? Like I said earlier, basically there's two things that I would consider if I was in the market for a heart rate strap today. First and foremost on the list is, what activities are you going to be using your heart rate strap for? And it really comes down to one or two options. Are you exclusively a land-based athlete, meaning runner, cyclist, basically things where you're going to stay dry? Or do you dip your toes in multi-sports, or at least do some cross-training in the pool, where swimming is going to be part of your training regimen, and therefore something that you want to make sure you're monitoring your heart rate with while you're involved in that activity? If water-based sports are part of your mix, then you're probably going to want to get a strap that works in the water. Now, most heart rate straps, it's okay to get wet, it's okay to sweat on them, it's okay to wear them in the rain, things like that. But if you're going to be in the water a lot, at least as far as I'm concerned, I would err on the side of making sure I have a strap that is good to be submerged in water for an extended period of time. And both Polar and Garmin have models that are definitely wearable in the pool, in open water. So if you're a multi-sport athlete or you do a lot of cross-training in the pool, then I would lean towards one of those options. The other thing to consider is whether or not you will use your heart rate strap to monitor your heart rate beyond just when you're working out, or in other settings where it's not just your watch that you want to monitor your heart rate with. Maybe, for example, you're at the gym taking a spin class. Maybe you have a Peloton bike and you want your heart rate strap to sync to your watch for your data that way, but you also want it to display on the screen of whatever piece of workout equipment that you're using. So it needs to be able to sync both to your watch and simultaneously to your spin bike, to your phone, to other devices, things like that. So just a suggestion, but you may want a strap that is not only compatible with your watch. The good news is that these days, again, whether we're talking Polar, whether we're talking Garmin, whether we're talking Wahoo Fitness, whether we're talking, quite frankly, any decent heart rate strap out there these days, it's probably going to tick the box for being able to connect to both your watch and other devices. But the thing that you definitely want to look for, and again, it's pretty standard these days, but make sure you check it just to be safe. Just make sure that your heart rate strap is able to connect both via Bluetooth and ANT+. If it ticks both of those boxes, you'll be good to go to connect to whatever device or devices that you choose to use. So if the activities that you're doing and the ability to easily connect your strap to different devices are the two main factors to consider when it comes to purchasing a heart rate strap for your heart rate training, are there any other factors that you might want to consider? Yeah, of course. The other thing that I would encourage you to make sure to at least double check of, or at least be aware of when making your purchase, is the ease of replacing your heart rate strap. When you're purchasing a heart rate strap, the main cost of that purchase isn't the strap itself, but it's actually the transponder piece. This is mine, but this is the piece that connects with your watch, that collects all the data, that syncs back and forth. Like, this is the thing. The strap itself, kind of doesn't really matter. And I kind of thought that was the case across the board, but actually, as it turns out, certain heart rate straps don't detach like that. So you just buy the whole thing and that's it, which isn't the end of the world, except when you have a strap that you can take the transponder piece off, you can typically drop this in the washing machine to kind of help, issues that may result from wearing your heart rate strap for every workout for months and potentially years on end. Being able to throw the thing in the laundry once in a while, kind of a bonus feature as far as I'm concerned. Also, over the course of months and years of wearing a heart rate strap, sometimes the actual sensors, the parts that connect to your skin and actually read the electrical activity of your heart, they start to fail a little bit. They get a little bit worn out. And so being able to replace just the strap for $15 or $20 is better than having to buy the whole thing anew, which, could cost you upwards of $100 to get the new transponder as well. I'm actually on my 4th or 5th or maybe 6th, I don't know, strap since I started heart rate training, but still using my first transponder. So definitely worth considering the pros and cons of a strap that actually detaches from the transponder and can be replaceable at relatively low cost down the road. So all things equal, if I was in the market for a new heart rate strap right now, today, what would I get? As of releasing this video in October of 2022, need to make sure we date this thing just in case situations change in the future. Hands down, I would definitely get the Polar H10, which is not what I actually have right now. When I got started in heart rate training, I had no desire to get in the pool and do a bunch of swimming. Quite frankly, I don't really have much desire to do a whole lot of swimming right now. Anyway, who knows, maybe you want to get into triathlons down the road, or at least just mix in swimming as part of a cross-training routine. And I just feel like having that flexibility for an extra $20 or $30 is probably worth it. Now, am I gonna buy a Polar H10 just for the pool functionality that my Wahoo Ticker X doesn't possess? No. But again, if I was starting from scratch today, if I was watching this video going, I'm not sure which heart rate strap sensor combo I want to get, I think the best choice for anybody who's really gonna be serious about heart rate training is to get the Polar H10. So that's it for today. If you're getting into heart rate training, thinking about getting a heart rate strap, don't overthink it. Just get the Polar H10 and you'll be good to go.